everyone, it's your favorite half Filipina, and today I am here with my mother. This is my mom, and I am going to be interviewing her today and asking her some amazing questions.
Amazing questions.
Amazing questions.
Let's hope I have amazing responses.
Of course.
All right.
Okay. You guys ready? In
Yep.
3. Oh. I put 4. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, but the floor, I can wheel around in it.
No.
Yes. See? Look.
No.
Let me introduce myself briefly. Okay, so my name is Lisa. I love sloths. They are my power animal next to bunnies. Love playing Heyday. It is the best game. Oh, don't look at me like that. I love reading. James Patterson and David Baldacci are my two favorite authors. What else? I'm trying to get myself back into running and exercise. I've lost some motivation. I'm trying to get back into that. I am an elementary school teacher here where we are. I teach grade 7. I've been a teacher for about 20 years. And equivalent to that, I have been married to your dad for 20 years. It's funny how our relationship parallels my job. And I am the mother of 2 amazing girls. And of course, I'm the mother, and I'm allowed to say that, but they really are amazing girls. And then I have the world's most awesome husband. And I mean that sincerely. And so that's my brief introduction about me.
Okay.
All right, so what's your question?
First question. Did you know anything about Filipinos before you met Dad?
You know what? I didn't know anything really about the Filipino culture prior to your dad.
Okay.
I have taught a few Filipinos, but they never really spoke about their culture. They never spoke about it. I never asked about it.
Right.
And so, of course, yes, I know where the Philippines is. I'm geographically not a problem. One experience I do remember about the Filipinos is a high school friend of mine. She used to get French fries every day for lunch, and she'd put gravy and mustard on them. She was an amazing girl, quiet, respectful. I would say that's probably my first exposure to the Filipino culture. But before your dad, I knew absolutely zip. Zilch.
Yeah.
Nada.
I know.
Nothing.
Yeah. No, but like for me, I also didn't really know a lot about Filipinos until recently. Like once I knew I was like Dad was Filipino, I was like, okay, let's learn. Because,
You know what? Are you done moving that thing? That's really annoying. That's very distracting to somebody like me. But, when you were smaller and younger, the whole aspect about culture wasn't something that your dad and I considered. We never really spoke about what culture we wanted to raise you in. We were just trying to raise you as good kids. And it wasn't until COVID, ironically enough, where you expressed some interest in learning about your culture. And I think being at home and being exposed to the internet and having access to YouTube, we saw a lot of videos about people in the Philippines, and that's what sparked the interest. So if you didn't express any interest, then I know even I myself wouldn't have learned as much as I have. I've learned more now within the last 5 years than I have, honestly, in the last 15 years, 20 years with your dad. So.
yeah. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the next question.
Okay.
How did you and Dad meet?
Oh my gosh. Let me see. How long do we have here?
No.
Okay. Long story short, he sold me a car. In the end. No, what happened was that at the time, I was in teachers college, and I was driving back and forth between campus and home. Car died. Didn't really have any choice. I had to get a car almost immediately. And I ended up contacting the dealership where your dad works. Sent an email down. Your dad is the one who responded to the email. I walked in there, and the next thing you know, I bought a car off of him. And from there, what ended up happening was that your dad had to submit some paperwork. And so I said, you know what, let me give you this paperwork. And he invited me over to lunch. And I said, I'll do you up one, and you can come or to where I am, and I'll treat you to dinner. And so he came to where I was. So he drove from the city to the country. And I had this great Thai restaurant that I used to go to. It's not there anymore, but fantastic. I knew the owner, and she let us sit there, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 hours. Your dad and I talked. It was like we were old friends getting caught up. We spoke, and your father was such a great listener, and it was back and forth. And, even though as different as your dad and I were, we got along really, really, really well. And then from there, the rest is history. Your dad and I would, email and talk to each other, and he'd come up here.
Send love letters on Gmail.
Hey, your dad has them all. He has all of the emails that I sent him. He's kept them, and it's in his Hotmail. He has them all. He's been showing them. I cannot believe he kept them all. But yeah, that's how we met. It was because of a car.
Next video, I'm reading them all. Just kidding.
You know what? If you asked him, he probably would give it to you.
Is it viewer discretion advised?
No, I wasn't that type of person. I'm a good girl. Question number 2.
Your next question. I feel like I'm doing like a pageant interview.
Oh, I was just going to say.
Okay.
Or like an interview for a job.
What was eye-catching about Dad when you met him?
Viewer discretion advised. I'll keep it clean. You know what? When I first met your dad, the reason why I agreed to meeting with him was he was easy to talk to, right? Like he is okay. Yes, he was dressed nice. Don't get me wrong, right? But he was a very warm person. When you meet somebody, they just have that energy that draws you in. That was your dad. And
That's
I
nice.
still remember the first time I went in to actually test drive the car. He had on a black leather jacket and dressed very nicely, right? You're doing cars. You're dealing with cars. And when he came to see me for that first dinner, I remember him showing up, and he had short sleeve shirts on. And I guess this is the period when he was working out. And for those of you who know Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee to the T. He had nice chest muscles, and his arms were shaped, and I could see that through his shirt. And so I was like, wow, he likes exercising as well, because I'm a runner, and that just kind of worked out. And then from just sitting down and talking with your dad, right?
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Was eye catching? Yes, it wasn't a high catching as much as it was spiritual catching and heart catching.
Spiritual catching, huh?
Yeah, because your dad and I clicked in a very, very, very short period of time. Like some people are together for years before they decide to get married. And your dad and I, within 2 years, we had gotten married and had kids. And I ended up going back into the working world as a teacher, which I didn't do before. So kind of lucky when I met your dad, because I was a little bit on the older side. So I don't know. I don't know. And honestly, your dad could have had all sorts of people. Like he's got that magnetic personality, and I sit back sometimes and I still wonder, and I go, wow, with all those people that are there, like he chose me and he's staying with me.
Yeah.
And it was the least thing that I can do to try to just be there for him.
Yeah.
Right? I was the quiet introvert, didn't really talk to anybody. I would go to the library to, you know, to do my work. I didn't really go out. I ended up having a job, so I spent most of my weekends working. I never really went to the bars. You know, your dad was there as a DJ, and you know,
Oh, the clubs,
I
yeah.
didn't do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
All right. Next question.
Okay.
What was the hardest part about your relationship with dad, and how did you overcome it?
The hardest part about the relationship, how do I put this? When I was first dating your father, my parents didn't accept him at all. They were very quick to judge him. They had heard things from other people and, you know, like a whole gossip mill. And so they came to me and they said, Lisa, we've heard this about him, this and this and this.
Yeah.
We don't think you should be dating him. And I'm not like that. I believe that you don't judge a book by its cover. You have to get to know somebody first before you make that decision. And my parents didn't like that because it meant going against what they said. Like my parents were the belief structures. When I say this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I said, no, I'm going to get to
Do
know
what
this
you want.
person. And if it does go belly up, then I'm going to take responsibility for it. And so, you know, and with that was a big, big sacrifice. So if you talk about the hardest part of the relationship, it was, I wouldn't say hard is a good word because the decisions I made weren't hard. They were just awkward. Like, because I decided to see your father and date your father and be with your father, it meant giving up and staying away from my parents. Right?
Yeah.
And no person should have to be put into that position. Like, you know, as a parent, you know, I want my girls to know that I'm always going to be for them there and I'm going to support them no matter what. And I didn't feel like I had that and I had to make that decision and I did. So I stayed with your dad and, you know, with that has come many, many years of quiet celebrations with Christmas, New Year's. Like, you know, it's just been the four of us. It's only recently that we've been
Invited.
to another
Yeah.
side of the family, but you're talking for a good 20 years.
There was nothing.
This is all that we knew, and it was the price that we had to pay. But I didn't consider it a big price because honestly, I thought about it as an honor that your dad chose me, you know, out of everybody else in the world. And it's kind of neat how God put us together with that.
It was meant to be, guys.
And you know, and the part that was, you know, hard that I feel bad for him is because, and I learned later on that's from the Filipino culture, that desire to stay unified to family, that he would encourage me and say, Lisa, come on, we should go to your parents, see if we can mend wounds and do it for the girls. And I would listen to him and I'd go over and over and over. And at the end of the day, I said, you know what? That was another mistake. That was another mistake. That was another mistake. And I felt just so bad with how they were treating him and judging him. And, you know, when I tried to have a conversation with my parents, they made me feel like all of this was my fault and I'm being disrespectful to them. And I had a hard time with that. And so, you know, I had to make that decision. So, you know, I felt bad for your dad that he was getting treated like that. It wasn't so
Yeah.
much a bad, you know, what was hard for me. I felt bad for him because he's such a great person. His personality is so magnetic. He will go off on a limb and do whatever you need. Like I said, I've never seen anybody like him before. And as a teacher, you know, I see hundreds and thousands of people, and your dad stands out as one in a million, literally. So,
Yeah, that's true.
like I said, I feel bad, and so with that decision has come the sacrifices. But I believe now that God has done that for a reason. So
For sure.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. Anyways, your next question
Okay.
is, what are some things that Dad taught you in your life?
Dad's taught me. You know what? Like I said, your dad is like the extrovert. He has a very magnetic personality. He can sit down and talk with anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many people are there.
Very extroverted.
Yeah, he speaks his mind. Take a look
Yeah.
today when we were going to Best Buy. Was it yesterday? Going to
Yeah.
Best Buy, like he stands up for what's right. And so in terms of what he's taught me, it's just simple to have belief in myself and have belief in God.
Yeah.
You know, and my grandmother on my mom's side would say the same thing, that it comes down to a big belief in God. But your dad, it's belief in yourself, because without your dad, I wouldn't have been where I was. I would not be here teaching grade 7. I wouldn't have had the guts to go back to upgrade my qualifications. I wouldn't have had the guts to go back and take a math and certificate and science and computers and get a specialist. Like, you know, my past, I wouldn't have done that. And so your dad kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and said, okay, you know, this is what you're going to do. And with that, you know, belief, it's simply love and devotion. What does it look like? And what does it feel like? You know, it's, again, growing up, I didn't witness it like that. I have a lot of memories of being raised differently than that, and your father has basically taken everything and challenged all my beliefs, and he still does to this day. You know, it's not perfect, but yeah, he's taught me a lot of lessons.
That's good. That's good. You need someone who's going to teach you lessons. Important life lessons.
Remember that, Julia.
What was that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
I'm scared. No. Your last question.
All right.
If you could reverse time, would you still marry Dad?
Know that song? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, if you could reverse time, would you still marry Dad, and why?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know what? I believe that, and that was actually something else that you could probably think about your father, that, you know, the goals of life is just to, you know, move on, go forward, don't look back. And
True.
I don't have
True.
any regrets, that everything that's happened in my life has made me a better person going forward. And I sometimes look at myself and go, like, your dad chose me above all else, and I'd be not disrespectful, but I don't want to be a disappointment to him. You know, I want him to see I've taken all that. And, you know, regret, I consider
It's my low power mode.
I consider it an honor, and myself very, very lucky to have somebody like your dad. So there's no regrets. There's just a lot of great times, and this year has been absolutely awesome. So I look forward to seeing what 2024 has to do, because
Yeah, me too.
God has done one absolutely wicked job. I mean, you and Victoria are two absolutely great girls, and you know, I see a lot of people. I'm not just saying that. Like, I see a lot of people, you know, and considering, you know, our family and the struggles, you know, you guys have ended up, or girls have ended up, you know, you're incredible. Okay, so yes, I love you. She really is an awesome daughter. She really is an awesome daughter.
Oh, this is the best mom you could ever have, guys.
She's the cook. When he left for the Philippines, she was the one that kept us fed. Yeah. Anyways, so that's my story. I hope I answered all your questions.
You did. But do you have anything else to say to my watchers, viewers, subscribers, followers?
I don't know. Nothing else I would say.
Well,
I don't know. What would I say?
That we're going to Philippines in July.
Yep.
We're so
We're doing
excited.
Oh, I cannot wait. That's 6 months and counting.
But anyways, that's the end of today's video. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And also subscribe if you want to see more. Paalam! See you later! Okay, smile for the thumbnail.